Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing this Hey Neighbor Slimline Christmas card with you using products from the Mama Elephant October 2022 release paired with other products from Mama Elephant. So not everything is brand new, but the Hey Neighbor set definitely is, and I love how it pairs with the fairly recent little MERRYSIGN agenda. So I love the little agenda sets from Mama Elephant. They're some of my very favorite. And instead of using the critters that come with the Hey Neighbor set, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to see if some little agenda critters fit? And then specifically, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have them holding signs out the window? So I think any of the little agenda sets that you maybe already have would be really cute with this Hey Neighbor set. So I'm going to start with a slimline card base, and what I'm doing here is just trimming down my cardstock to fit the front of a slimline card base. Then I'm going to use Mermaid Lagoon and Chipped Sapphire Distress Oxide inks to ink up my background. There is a lot of coloring on this card today, and because it's coloring heavy, I decided to go with a little bit more of a simplistic background, and one of my favorite go-tos is some Distress Oxides blended together, spritzed with water from a distress sprayer, and call it good. So this is a fantastic way to achieve a really quick and easy winter sky background. The oxidized splatters are going to give the illusion of falling snow in the background, and I can't wait to show that to you here in just a minute. I gradually worked up the color here using Chipped Sapphire and Mermaid Lagoon. So I went all over with Mermaid Lagoon first, but you'll notice as I neared the bottom of the panel, I lightened my hand and I did not bring the ink all the way down to the bottom. That's so it would naturally give the illusion of snow along the ground. Oh, and there's my hand right in the way of the camera. So sorry, you guys. And then I'm going to take the Chipped Sapphire and work that in. With the nice base of Mermaid Lagoon underneath, I really think that it allows some of the lighter tones to show through the darker. And I'm going to go back and forth between these two colors, working them together until I get a blend that I like. Remember with ink blending that you can really kind of work on it and keep blending until you achieve the desired result. You can use water from a paintbrush or, kind of splatter it off of an acrylic block with a paintbrush, flicker feather it out, or you can simply do what I'm going to do here. A distress sprayer is designed to give splatter, and I like it a little better than a mini mister for this because you get those bigger droplets all over the panel. And look at the oxidation already take shape. I'm going to go ahead and blot those dry and allow the background to air dry while we work on the rest of the card. But isn't this going to be a beautiful background? This is great for all kinds of different cards. Next, I am going to stamp my images. Excuse me. Sorry about my cough there. I stamped my images on Neenah's smooth white cardstock with Hero Arts intensified black ink. I knew I wanted to do some alcohol ink coloring for this panel, and so I went ahead and used this ink. It's my favorite for alcohol ink. I have found that I don't have any trouble with it, and so that is what I used for this. And I also stamped everything I thought I was going to use at one time. And in this case, I don't think I actually had to go back and stamp anything extra. You guys, if you've seen my videos before, know that sometimes when I am creating a card, I will start with what I think I need, and then I will come back and end up adding more to it. With this particular design, the neighborhood building definitely takes up the majority of the space and on the slimline style card, and so I felt like I really didn't need to add a whole lot extra to the design today. So I have listed down in the description box below the video here on YouTube, as well as over on my blog. Yes, I do have a new blog, and the link will work to it. I know there are going to be broken links for some of my older content here on YouTube as far as my blog goes, and I am working to fix those as quickly as possible. Just please be patient with me as it will take a little bit of time. It's an awful lot of content. But I am happy to have a new blogging home, and I think it will be a little bit more friendly, at least for me. So anyway, please be sure to check that out and subscribe if you haven't already to always be notified. So after I'm going to work in layers, I guess, or floors of the building. How about that? Floors of the building. I started with my red. I'm doing gray as my window casing, and then I am just kind of flicking or feathering in some blues to the window. Now, this would be great if, let's say, you are going to stamp this on your card and you're not going to die cut it. You will get to keep a lot more of this. I honestly wasn't thinking the die actually cuts that entire window out. And I thought about cutting it out of the video, but I thought I would leave it in because I really like how it turned out. And if you would want to stamp this on a card or do something different with it where you're not using the coordinating die, I hope that maybe that window idea inspires you to try that or try it on a different card. I decided to keep my building fairly simple, I guess I should say, with just a red and a gray theme. The window awning, I'm going to do a bright pink and a bright green. I thought with the beautiful blues of the background and the reds of the building that those colors would pop, and I decided to also use the pinks, bright greens, and reds for the signs that the cute little critters are holding. So I did speed up the video a little bit, as I usually do in general, but the coloring, I have left it just the normal sped up as per request for easy viewing. One of the top questions I do receive here is like, how long does it take in actual time? And so I did check the file from when I uploaded it, and it was 43 minutes to color everything. So quite a lot of coloring. And when I colored this, I do believe that I really just sat and colored. So coloring can be a bit time consuming, but literally the rest of the card went together so fast that I think it was only about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes from start to finish. The coloring literally was the majority of this project. And sometimes that is the way it goes. And that's why I was talking a little earlier in the video when we were creating the background, how I kept it more on the simple side, simply because I was going to be coloring and doing a ton of coloring. This building is very big. And because of that, it does take a little bit more effort. And you're just going to see me continue to kind of work my way down. I don't know why I didn't start with the very, very top. I started with the kind of like apartments or whatever. I'm imagining it's apartments, and then the bottom is like a little shop, because we are going to stick one of the critters from the Hey Neighbor set in the window of the shop, and then everything else is going to be the cute little MERRYSIGN agenda. And then for greetings, I'm going to spell out Merry on the signs using MERRYSIGN agenda. So our sentiment will kind of be, you know, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But of course I had to add more than one sentiment. We are going to use the Easy Christmas Greetings. If you like the Easy Greetings die from Mama Elephant, they also have some other sets that utilize the same die, which I love. You stamp 3 sentiments at once, and then you die cut them all at once, and you end up with multiple sentiment strips. Excuse me. And I really, really love it for that. And I'm going to use a couple of them for my card. Kind of helps fill in a little of the extra space with the slimline style as well. I didn't really want to add extra elements, which when we get to putting the whole thing together, I will talk a little bit more about that. I did all of my red, all of my dark gray, except for the top of the house, of course. And this kind of view on the screen right now, I do want to talk about. So imagine if you want your building to fit on an A2 size card, you could mask off the top, the very tippy top of the building if you wanted to, kind of from that molding up. And you could make it kind of more of a flat top, like apartment building type looking building. And I think that that would be amazing. And you could just stamp the rest of it. And when you go to die cut it, you can just cut straight across with your scissors. And you will end up with this adorable little flat top apartment building, which, like I said, would fit an A2 size card a little bit better. Because if you use this image and die as is, it does stick up over the top of an A2 size card, which I think would be cute for certain cards, or you could even use it kind of on its own and maybe create a card base from it. I think there's a lot of different things you could do here, but just another little idea for you if you want to kind of customize it a little bit. So I did move back up. You can see that I did the awning in pinks and greens. I did the window. I haven't colored the door yet. That's going to be some grays as well. I really didn't go outside the box too much. I kept it super, super simple as far as color scheme. We want the adorable little critters to really, really pop. So let's go ahead and do grays for most of the roof. We will do a little red here. So in the Hey Neighbor set, I want to talk a little bit about what else you get in there, because I've talked that I'm going to be using these little MERRYSIGN agenda that you can see. Now, the little birds that I stamped, the wreath that I stamped, and then the little penguin, which is only a portion of the penguin because they're meant to look like they're, you know, hanging out the windows. Those are all from the Hey Neighbor set. There's also a bunny, a bear, and a fox, which they're all darling and will all coordinate back to other Mama Elephant stamp sets, which I always appreciate and think is amazing. And then there is a little for you sentiment, which would fit in some of those images as well. So I did choose to use the two little birdies and the wreath, and we're going to decorate that top round window with a wreath. You could stamp multiple wreaths and put them on the different windows. If you, let's say you want to use this image as is, as I was talking about earlier, and you stamp it on your card, you're not going to die cut it. You could decorate the windows with wreaths, maybe put a critter or two in the windows. Very easy to do, just kind of mask off the edge of the window. You can do that with a post-it tape, nothing fancy, and stamp your critters to appear that they're hanging out the window waving. And then you can adorn the windows with wreaths and really Christmas it up. You could add some trees around it, maybe die cut trees or stamped trees around the buildings or building, and that would be another fun way to kind of utilize more of the products you might already have. And then you can see here I took a white pen and I'm adding some detail to that awning hanging over the window. Okay, it looks like our building is all colored. That was definitely like 20 some minutes of my coloring. The rest of this is super fast. We've got a little elf. So I chose an elf, one Santa, and 3 reindeer from the little MERRYSIGN agenda. And this was very much on purpose. I did try to incorporate more elves, but I just couldn't make it work. So one was great. I decided for this, I only wanted one Santa, and I wanted it to really appear like it's Santa and elf and several of his reindeers kind of hanging out the windows. Mostly how I determined what images I wanted to use was based on kind of how they looked and how I thought they would look hanging out the window. And I'm super partial to the reindeer, I have to say. The little reindeer agenda is one of my all-time favorites. It's several years old now. I think it might still be available at Mama Elephant. I'm not entirely 100% sure. But if you have that one, I think it would work really well for this to any of the little agenda. And I truly mean that. Any of the little agenda sets would be a really fun addition to this brand new Hey Neighbor set. And that goes for not just Christmas. Because this building is not decorated for Christmas, you could very, very easily make this a winter building, a spring building, a Valentine's Day building. You could do Easter, do all bunnies. You could do, and little chicks. Wouldn't bunnies and chicks be really cute? You could do summertime, fall, simply by switching critters and other images that you add to it. I think it's a really great base. I like that it doesn't have wreaths on the windows, that it doesn't scream Christmas, so that it makes it way more versatile. I think that that is always a good idea. So I'm kind of just going through and coloring all of my images. And again, all the colors are going to be listed down below. I will list out like Santa and the colors used. I'll put reindeer and the colors used. Then I'll probably list out things like pink and green and give you those color combos, and red and give you that color combo, just for easy reference. If you're going through older videos and you're not seeing the colors listed and it's hard to access my old blog, definitely reach out. I've had a couple of viewers reach out. They were looking for certain things from older videos that maybe didn't have that information, and I was able to access it on my end, kind of just some stuff I have saved, and I was able to go into the video and update the video with that information. So if you're ever looking for something, I don't always have it, but a lot of the newer content from the last 2, 3, 4 years I do have. So if you are looking for that, just let me know. I can definitely at least attempt to retrieve that and get it for you, and I'm happy to do so. And we're just going to continue to color. Lots and lots of color. Aren't the signs cute? I love that they're holding these little signs. I'm a sucker for images with little signs. I think I've talked about this in other videos before, that I always like the little signage. I don't know why. And what's really nice about the MERRYSIGN agenda is it does come with a full alphabet, so you can spell out things on the signs. Like, I think it would be cute to maybe just do 3 and have them say joy. Or even if you were doing a card, let's say without the Hey Neighbor set, and you wanted to spell out believe or Christmas or holiday or happy, and then you have a script style die that says holidays, pardon me. Lots of really cute ways to use images that have signs. Looks like we're almost nearing having everything colored. I feel like I've been going on forever. Another little tip, you guys, if watching the coloring is not your thing, you can speed up the video on YouTube, and I will probably sound like a chipmunk talking, but you can kind of speed through it and see it a little quicker. But it's a little bit nicer for those who do like to watch the coloring and want to see it where it's not so sped up that you blink and it's gone. All right, looks like we have an elf and our birds left, I think. And then I will tell you, I took everything and taped down the dies. I believe I was able to do it all with one pass of my Spellbinders Platinum die cutting machine, but I took a little low tack tape. I taped the dies in place over all of the images. With the house, I do have a little tip for that. I did tape it twice. So anything small, I only use a little teeny tiny piece of tape to hold it down to run it through the machine. With the house, I was afraid because of how long it is, and you know, plates can warp a little bit and I didn't want it to maybe shift. So I put a little piece of tape up at the top and a little piece of tape down at the bottom to hold that die in place while I ran it through my die cutting machine. And hopefully that will help you guys as well. Oh, I do have one other little idea for like one of the windows. You could always do like a little tree. I'm sure there's several sets with little trees. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but I know that they have some that you could have a tree back behind the window. So, you know, like they're decorating the tree inside. I think that would be fun. The possibilities are just endless. Okay, we're gonna run and die cut these, and then what I like to do is kind of lay everything out and plan it out, make sure everything is where I want it to go. And normally I would have stamped the letters and spelled out the words prior to die cutting, and I actually forgot. And so that is a little bit of a bummer because it's going to be a little bit trickier to stamp the letters, but I'm actually just going to choose to use an acrylic block and stamp the letters to spell out the words. First, I'm going to lay out my building. I'm going to grab all my images and kind of make sure, now that I actually have it die cut, that everything is going to work the way I'm imagining it. I also want to make sure that I spell out the letters in the correct order. So by placing everything where it goes, that gives me a much better idea of how it's going to look once I have attached everything. So let's go ahead and kind of move our dies, put those back away, move everything out of the way. I always kind of try to put my dies back with the set, especially if you're working with a bunch of small dies like this. So putting them back with the sets they go to. Anytime I don't put them away, I do end up like losing one, or at least putting it somewhere it doesn't belong, and it takes me a little while to find it. You can see that the wreath will be up at the top window. We got a couple little birds that we can figure out where to put those. Just somewhere up here at the top, I think will be cute, and it will also bring your eye towards the top of the card and add a little bit of added interest. Now off camera, I did stamp my sentiment strips. I stamped them on some dark cardstock using clear embossing ink and heat embossing with white embossing powder. And the sentiments I wanted to use actually came from 2 different groupings. So I stamped it twice, and I'm going to end up with 4 extra sentiments, which is never a bad thing. I am going to leave the long sentiment, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, down along the bottom as is, popped up with foam adhesive. And then the second phrase, sending you happy holiday hugs with love, I decided to be more visually interesting. I'm going to cut that up, which I'll show here in a minute. Using an acrylic block and the letters from Little Merry Sign Agenda, I am going to start stamping the letters on the signs. And they are super teeny tiny. My acrylic block is working good. I used some VersaFine ONYX black ink to stamp those. And I'm going to make sure I put the letters back so I don't lose those. We do need the R twice. That's always a bonus. And we'll grab the Y and finish that off. So my other very favorite thing is foam adhesive. You guys already know this. And we are going to attach the building and the critters in the windows with foam adhesive to really just make them stand out, give it a really fun look. I like them popped up off of the background a bit. Makes it much more interesting. And then we're going to simply put like a little square here and there. I'm going to be kind of You need to check with your image, your background image, because like for the reindeer where he overlaps the building, we want to make sure we don't put foam adhesive underneath the right side, just the left. How cute's that little penguin peeking out of the window? And then we're just going to continue to fill all of the windows with critters. Oh my goodness, you guys, it turned out even better than I imagined in my head. Such a fun holiday design. So now the top of the card is a little bare, but the wreath around that round window, definitely cute. And then if we add the birds up here, very cute as well. But you can see, even though this particular building fits a slimline card, there's a lot of open space. And with this design, that's where I left space for the remaining sentiment strip. And I just need to figure out how I want to cut it apart with my scissors. And I ended up cutting it apart with the sending you together, happy holiday hugs together, and with love. So it's going to have 3 little sections. We're going to pop up each of these right here at the top. And really all we have left is finishing details at this point. So attaching sentiments with foam adhesive, adding our panel to our side fold, pardon me, our slimline card base. I did get my slimline card base from Simon Says Stamp. I love their pre-cut and scored card bases. And of course, we have to add some little hearts. I'm going to start kind of with the middle sentiment, and I am going to use my awesome little T-square ruler from Simon Says Stamp. You might have noticed I used it with the bottom sentiment strip as well. That's going to help me line up my sentiment perfectly. And our second one, and might have to just eyeball this third line of text. But that should be okay. Maybe. That looks good. Now, underneath the long sentiment strip down at the bottom where we have the white of the snow, there just is an extra spot that I think is going to be perfect for a little red heart. I also want to make sure and go over any eyes that are open with a black jelly roll pen, just very, very carefully dotting the black pen on the eyes to give them detail. I did turn it upside down. I didn't want to drag my hand through any of them that I already have done. And then, of course, we're going to add our hearts. Little heart down here at the bottom, and I think we'll do a little up here at the top as well. And that is going to finish up our slimline card. I would love to know down in the comments if you like making slimline cards, or if you would kind of change it up and make it work for a standard A2 size card or even a 5x7 card. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this Hey Neighbor Slimline Christmas card featuring Mama Elephant stamps and dies. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Mama Elephant that you might be interested in. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my amazing Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. We would love to see you over there as a member of our community. Sorry, you guys, I can't talk today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.